I want to thank Vicki Hebert for coming to join us. Vicki Hebert is from Smuggler's Cove Flagging.
Thanks, Mickey. Thank you for inviting me today. Hi, I'm Vicki, and good morning. I just want to share a little bit about my history and what I did as a flagger. When I was 18, my father got me into the trades. My grandfather and my dad were both linemen, and my grandfather ended up being the general manager of Peninsula Light Company, and then my dad also went into the trades. And if I would have been a boy, I probably would have been a lineman, but he got me into flagging, and I worked for all of the utilities. So from 18 until 25, I directed traffic from the Cascades to the ocean, and from Oregon, Washington border up to the Canadian border. So I did a lot of traveling and a lot of flagging. Back in the day, I was a traffic control instructor, and I was going to start my own business, and kids came along. And so I put everything on the back burner and lived my life. And a few years ago, I had an opportunity to go back flagging, and I was reminded about how much I love it, what a great job it is, and thought, you know what, it's time to start that business that I wanted to start back in 1986. So here we are, and I've been in business for 3 years. Traffic control it has a lot of freedom. It is difficult. It's challenging on many levels. I love being outdoors. And if you're the right person for the job, it's a wonderful fit. One of the biggest misnomers I think that people think about flagging is that we just stand there all day. And there is so much to this job. What I like to do when I'm flagging is to be able to have a very calming, kind presence and friendly. That doesn't always go for my whole day. It's very up and down, as I'll show you, and that you can imagine. But that's my goal every day. And it's also safety. We want to keep everybody safe. So I'm going to just give you a little bit of a picture of what it takes to become a flagger. So we have to have really good physical and mental abilities. I have to be able to stay focused constantly all day long on what's going on in the moment on the job. And the physical part of the job is you have to be able to stand a long period of time. You don't get very many breaks. All kinds of weather. There's heavy equipment and things all around you. A car may come at you. You got to be able to move quickly. And so there's a lot of, you have to really be aware and be able to get out of the way, basically. So I'm going to show you, I'm going to try screen sharing. Let's see, we'll go here. Okay, and part of this is I went back. My employer encouraged me to become a traffic control supervisor, which you have to have a lot of hours to be able to get that certification. And then once you get that certification and additional hours, you can become a Washington State traffic control flagger instructor. And so that's what I do now. I do TCS, traffic control supervising, and also instructors. So I can actually hire my own employees and train and certify them. Flagger cards are good for 3 years, and they're good in 4 states. So you can go to Oregon, Idaho, Montana, and Washington with this card and be a traffic control, do traffic control. And there may be some little bit of changes in each state, so you have to be up on the regs and everything and educate yourself because they do it a little bit different in every state. but you can have that opportunity. And that's one nice thing about flagging, is that no matter where I go, I can get a job. So I do certify all of my own employees, and I also do that for other companies, and in Skagit Valley College in Mount Vernon, I teach a class monthly. Flaggers should be able to satisfactorily demonstrate the following abilities: receive and communicate specific instructions, move and maneuver quickly, control signing devices, understand and apply safe traffic control practices, and recognize dangerous traffic situations and warn the workers. So that's one of the responsibilities. Let me go now to, and this is just, I'm just kind of giving you a peek. The flagger certification class actually lasts about 8 hours. It's very in-depth, it's very intense, mostly because we want you to understand the big picture, and the number one thing is to stay safe and to keep everybody safe. So this is the priority. As a flagger, you're responsible for the safety of ourselves, my fellow workers, the motoring public, bicycles, and pedestrians. And all of that is moving around all the time. And I have a tendency, I think with most flaggers, when we're on the job, we always need to have a way out. Like when we get on the job, we have to look around and make sure that we can get away. So we have to make sure there's no barriers to that. So, but when I'm flagging and I'm watching the big picture, I sometimes will forget it, we'll drop ourselves down a little bit because we'll be more concerned about the motoring public and our coworkers. So, but those are the 5 things that we have to be able to do. So let's see, essential functions, what it takes, the safety. Let me talk a little bit more about safety. So when I show up, and let me give you an example of what it's like in the morning. I'll show up for the job early. I am hopefully well rested. I've had breakfast. My mind is ready to go. I set all of the cones, all the signs up. I make sure where everything is, if there's any roads coming in that I have to watch for side traffic, pedestrian travel, bicycles, mopeds this time of the year. And we have that other element of tourism, which it can be very challenging. So I'm prepared. I get there, I have to be centered and balanced. I'm dressed and ready to go. I've got, my flag. I've checked my radios. I put them on charge the night before, right? And then I show up with a clear mind. So one of the biggest things is, for me as an employer, I don't tolerate any kind of drug or alcohol use. I am a member of the drug-free business. We can't be using drugs on the job or drunk. And no phones. Phones are absolutely out. Any kind of a distraction is deadly. Only takes a second. So those are 2 things that are really, really important to me: clear head and no phones. So timeliness also. We want to get there early. So this is a big part of safety. You want to get there early because the guys or the crews will get out on the road if we're not there on time. So they've just put themselves in danger. If I have a partner and my partner is late, that means that I've now put my own self in danger because I don't have my partner there with me. So all of this is about safety, and it's paramount. So what we do learn in the class is the hand signaling, how we stand, where we stand, our attire. A big part of the flagging job is clothes. Lots and lots of clothes, because when you're in the elements, you have to be layered. And so in the winter, and the temperatures here change dramatically. So we might be prepared in the morning with warmer clothes, and as the day goes on, some of the layers come off. But there's nothing worse than being freezing and shivering by being underdressed. Traffic control signals is something that we learn in the class, and and I have a video that we show in the class, and this actually has this gentleman in it. He's a really great flagger. So I know why he's in the movie, because he's so good. But he has really good hand signals and a good attitude and thanks people. I don't have any really great pictures yet. So I'm going to use this as an example. So during the day, let's see if I can show, we will be set up. There's his partner flagging down there. They have the sign turned around, which means everybody's stopped. Look at the cone. We use cones. Believe it or not, these cones are about 8 pounds each. And so if you stack them, they get heavy really fast. Also, I don't like to have them too close to my feet because I move, and I've actually tripped over them. So we have to really keep our feet clear. See, as his coffee, his thermos, coffee's a big thing for me. But here's equipment, we have barricades, we have to learn and know how to set them up, how they're used, where we're supposed to stand. This gentleman is not standing in a very safe position. He also has his back to the traffic. So in the class, we go over what are some of the things here that you see that might be changed, that we could do different on the job site. Also, when we're on the job, when we're learning how to flag, we have specific rules that we're supposed to follow by WSDOT and the MUTCD, the Manual on Uniform Traffic Control Devices, which is given to us from the feds. So they come down and they give us all their regs, and then every state has different regs, and then some counties and cities will actually have different regs. But we have rules. And what I like to tell everyone, in an ideal world, we would do it perfectly, but that's not how it is in the real world. So we have to be able to adapt quickly. But anyway, so we go through some of things like this to figure out, you know, how would I do this different? What looks good? What are we doing right? So there's a lot to flagging. In the beginning, it can be very overwhelming because first you're just trying to get used to cars going by and learning your hand signals. Oftentimes, and what I'm really trying to do with the company is to be able to hire people who are new and have actually someone go and stand with them for a couple hours and actually train them and put them on jobs that aren't too demanding, so they can kind of get their confidence and get a feel for what it's like cars going by. Because in the beginning, cars are scary when they go by, and some of them go by really fast. Some of them are really big, and we don't have a lot of big shoulders here. So there's just the beginning stages, and then as time goes on, you realize, oh my gosh, this is hard. There's a lot going on all the time. When I'm flagging, I know where all of the guys are all of the time. I know the trucks that are coming in and out. I can hear before I see a vehicle coming. I usually can hear it. I have a sense where my other flaggers are, where all of the cars are. I mean, I am constantly looking around. And what I like to tell people, if your neck does not hurt on the first day of your job, you are not doing it right, because we have to be pivoting our heads constantly to be aware of our surroundings. It's very rewarding though. The people are generally very kind and patient with us. But I have my DVD, this video, which I'm just showing you a clip from the class. And I'm hoping you can hear it. This stuff is not online. So if you're interested, you can take the class and I'll give you the whole spiel. Okay.
The area should be closed and foot traffic rerouted. Bicyclists using the roadway must follow the same traffic flow instructions as motor vehicles. If an emergency vehicle approaches with lights and sirens, hold all traffic. Emergency vehicles should be given the right-of-way and allowed to pass as soon as it is safe to do so. Signal using your emergency whistle or horn to make sure the work area is aware that an emergency vehicle is moving through. Traffic delays often cause hostility and frustration that sometimes results in verbal abuse of the flagger. Remain calm. Do not provoke or elevate a hostile situation. Never strike out at or be abusive to a motorist or vehicle. This could result in criminal or civil action being taken against you. Be courteous. Show drivers you understand their frustration and will let them through as soon as you've received the signal that it's safe for them to pass. If an incident does occur, be sure to notify your supervisor. Flaggers may be asked to work as a spotter. A spotter's primary function is to provide for the safe backing of work zone vehicles with limited visibility. Spotters also observe traffic as it passes through the work zone to alert workers of possible hazards. Spotters do not hold a stop-slow paddle and cannot stop or direct traffic. Spotters must be able to see the entire backing zone and be in direct line of sight and able to communicate with the driver. Working as a flagger and spotter simultaneously is prohibited.
So I really enjoy it, that part about the disgruntled patron. That happens all the time. You get, oh my gosh, you get swore at all day long and people yelling at you and being angry and hitting their gas and spinning their tires to get through. And people, I think one of the other things that people are really frustrated about flaggers about is we like them to slow down. And they feel like, and I understand this, they feel like they're going slow already. But there's so much happening in a work zone, and we need to be able to, when the crew is working, they are so focused on what they are doing that sometimes they'll pop out between trucks to get into a bin to get something and forget that there's traffic. I have to be aware of that all the time. That's why I want to know where my guys are all the time, because I can tell after working with them for a while kind of how they move and what they're doing. And so I've seen every single day there is a close call, at least one. And you get this knot in your gut and you're just like, gosh, I wish people could understand about slowing down. I know you're going slow already, but if you could see what's going on here and actually just stand here and get a feel for it, you would really slow down. And I think that is the most contentious part, is people get angry because we're slowing them down, but it's for a reason. We're not doing it to pick on people. We're not trying to delay your day. We're trying to keep everybody safe, and that includes the road user. So if you don't have a temperament for being yelled at and screamed at constantly, this may not be a good job for you. Especially after many days on the job and you've been working 10-hour days and you're standing in the direct sun constantly. I lose my tolerance, and occasionally will. I have to say I'm not perfect. I will lash out back, and the guys do too. I mean, it's just so, it can be so frustrating, and we understand the frustration. So that's kind of what it's like. In a day. I have one other thing to just close up, and then I guess we're going to do question and answer or something like that. So
most of us feel pretty safe when we're at work, but every year highway and utility workers are injured or killed on the job. That's because drivers aren't careful and don't slow down when they approach work zones. Think about it. How would you like it if someone drove through your workplace at 65 miles an hour? Work zone crews are just doing their job. Stay alert. Stay alive in work zones.
all right, so that's kind of my little blurb. Obviously you can tell I'm kind of passionate about it. It's very rewarding. It's a very rewarding job, and some jobs pay really well. It is a part-time on-call job. If you need regular income, this probably is not the job for you unless you want to go off island and get work. They have long jobs, prevailing wage jobs that will last you months. And sometimes flaggers actually make enough money during the construction season that they don't have to worry about working the rest of the year if they budget their money well, if that's what you choose. So the other blessing about having my company and actually being of service on the island is that we're starting to get more trained flaggers. It's really difficult, has been for me, to be able to train people and flag at the same time. And now I'm getting some flaggers that actually have some good experience that can now mentor other flaggers. And we're starting to get a pool of experienced flaggers, which really drops my stress level, because not only was I responsible for the job, I was also responsible for that other flagger and their newness. So it can be very, very, very stressful. But I find it worthwhile and rewarding.